Hello everyone, I am Anuj Nakade and welcome to Livelaw. We bring you breaking news from the Supreme Court about the Manipur violence. As you know, the story started on the 27th of March 2023 when the Manipur High Court directed the state government to consider the request of the Meitei community to be included in the scheduled tribe status. Then, on the 3rd of May, a protest by the All-Tribal Student Union of Manipur against the consideration to include the Meitei community in the scheduled tribe status turned violent, and clashes broke out. Soon after, two petitions were filed in the Supreme Court. One by the Manipur Tribal Forum seeking an SIT probe into the violence and seeking relief for the victims of the violence, and another petition by the chairman of the Hill Areas Committee or the HAC of the Manipur Legislative Assembly, challenging the direction of the Manipur High Court to consider the inclusion of the Meitei community in the scheduled tribe list. On the 8th of May 2023, Solicitor General of India Tushar Mehta told the Supreme Court that normalcy was being restored in Manipur. On May 17th, while taking note of the status report filed by the state regarding the security arrangements and relief camps, the Supreme Court had asked the law enforcement agencies to act on the apprehensions raised by the Manipur Tribal Forum regarding the attacks on tribal communities. Then, on June 15, the Manipur Tribal Forum filed an interlocutory application saying that they will not rely on, quote, the empty assurances of the union government. The IA sought for directions to be passed to the Indian Army to take full control of the law and order and public order situation in specific districts of the state, and an SIT to be established to independently investigate and prosecute those responsible for the assaults on the tribal communities in Manipur. It also sought for joint reparations or compensation from the Union of India and the state of Manipur to be paid to the next of kin of the tribals killed in the assaults, among other things. The Manipur Tribal Forum had earlier sought urgent listing of this IA, but the vacation bench of the Supreme Court declined to list the matter urgently and listed it on the 3rd of July. In this hearing, the Supreme Court sought for an updated status from the state of Manipur regarding the present position of the violent clashes between the communities. Yesterday, on the 7th of July, a two-judge bench of Justice P.S. Narasimha and Justice D.Y. Chandrachud considered this report. Senior advocate Colin Gonsalves, who appeared for the Manipur Tribal Forum, submitted in this hearing that everyone was against the kukitribes in this state. Upon hearing this, the CJI sternly said that the court proceeding should not be utilized as a platform for escalating violence or worsening the existing problems in the state. He clarified that his role was limited to the interpretation of law and not more. His exact words were, and I quote, "We don't want this proceeding to be used as a platform for further escalation of violence and other problems which exist in the state. We do not run the security apparatus or law and order. If you have suggestions, we can take them. Let us not see this as a partisan matter, it's a humanitarian issue." The court called for constructive suggestions from the petitioners which could be considered by the government and leave out the aspect of security measures for the executive part of the government to handle. A three-judge bench of Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud, Justice P.S. Narasimha and Justice Manoj Misra heard the suggestions of the Zomi Students Federation of India made through their counsel, Advocate Nizam Pasha, today. The list of these suggestions is comprehensive and long, but is at the center of the Supreme Court suggestions and recommendations to the state government on this issue. The 13 suggestions presented by the Zomi Students Federation of India through their counsel are: Number 1, to designate an officer who can be contacted by the people of Manipur to facilitate visits by families to mortuaries to claim unidentified or unclaimed bodies under protection and enable the process of identification and handing over of dead bodies for last rites. Number 2, the doctors deputed by the Health Ministry and those promised by the Home Minister must be sent to district hospitals in the hill districts where there is a shortage of such medical professionals. Number 3, address the shortage in essential medicines and equipment such as dialysis machines, CT scans, etc., and make them available accordingly. Number 4, to arrange for students of medical colleges to attend classes safely in institutions of similar standing, either in the state or outside the state. Number 5. To defer examinations to be conducted by the Manipur University in all its affiliated colleges, since students and staff have been forced to flee their homes and some of the campuses have been turned into relief camps. Number 6. Provide for helicopter services in a diversified set of routes to provide a sense of safety, as tribals from the hill districts are still afraid to come to Imphal, even to just use the airport. Number 7. Cellular services, specifically Vodafone and Jio, need to be restored in the state. Number 8. The circular asking all government employees to immediately report to work and threatening disciplinary action be removed, as a large number of persons have either fled the state or are living in relief camps. Number 9. Provide drinking water, food, sanitization, shelter and bedding for displaced persons in relief camps set up by community self-help groups across Churchandpur, Kangpokpi, Chandel and Tengopal, since there is an acute shortage of the same in these camps. Number 10. Directions be issued by the Supreme Court to persons holding official positions from making inciting or provocative remarks as per the directions of the Supreme Court in Kushal Kishore versus the state of UP. Number 11. The Home Minister, after discussion with the representatives of the communities, had indicated that an interagency unified command would be set up under the chairmanship of the Security Advisor Shri Kuldeep Singh. However, as per the updated status report, the meetings of the Unified Command Center are being chaired by the Chief Minister, which is not the stated position of the central government. This may be changed to restore the faith in neutrality of the efforts by the government. Number 12. A status report be called by the Supreme Court for the number of arms looted from the police armories, the number of such arms recovered, and the measures being undertaken for the recovery of the remaining arms. Number 13. A committee having representatives of both the affected communities and chaired by a retired judge of the Supreme Court be appointed to oversee rescue, relief, and rehabilitation measures to address the grievances concerning the same. At present, the teams comprising ministers and MLAs appointed by the government to oversee relief and rehabilitation measures comprise of 35 MLAs from a legislative assembly comprising 60 MLAs. Across 7 teams in charge of 7 districts pointedly do not include even a single MLA from the Zo kukitribes. The suggestions state that non-inclusion of tribal representatives in this committee damages the public confidence in terms of appearances of neutrality. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, appearing on behalf of the state, said that necessary consultations will be held at the level of the state administration, especially in the context of restoring cellular services, creating alternate helicopter routes, and deferring examinations. With respect to the rest of the suggestions, the court said that the action must be taken by the government within 48 hours. With respect to suggestions about a formation of a committee, the court said, and I quote, "These committees do not include any MLA from Zo kukitribes, and it is desirable that such representation may be granted for building public confidence. This may be duly borne in mind by the administration." Senior advocate Dr. Colin Gonsalves, appearing for the Manipur Tribal Forum, alleged that certain organizations of Meitei group are behind the violence and action should be taken against them. He alleged that certain leaders of that community made provocative statements and called for genocide of KUKIS, which were made on national television in an interview. However, the bench said that these cannot be regarded as constructive suggestions and did not appreciate the tone and the tenor of the submissions. Observing that such allegations are matters to be investigated, the bench said that it cannot pass directions to the Indian Army to take action against certain groups. The bench, however, accepted another suggestion made by senior advocate Gonsalves and ordered the state should take a considered view for the dispersal of compensation to the victims of the violence and for the reconstruction of the places of religious worship which were destroyed. The bench declined to pass any specific directions to the army and paramilitary forces to provide increased security to certain areas which Advocate Gonsalves alleged would come under future attacks. The bench said that it would not be appropriate for the court to pass judicial orders on where the forces should be deployed. However, the bench said, and I quote, At the same time, we would impress upon the Union of India and the State of Manipur to ensure arrangements to protect the lives of citizens of Manipur. Towards the end of today's hearing, Senior Advocate Gonsalves urged the bench to pass directions against hate speeches allegedly uttered by persons in power. He said, quote, "The learned Solicitor General must curb the extreme hate speech. He can stop this because he knows these gentlemen." Following this, the CJI added one more sentence in the order. "We request all parties to maintain a sense of equilibrium and not participate in any sort of hate speech." We have covered the litigations regarding Manipur violence in great detail. We will leave a link in the description to our previous coverage of the proceedings and regarding Manipur violence in the Supreme Court. We hope you found this video informative. If you did, please leave a like and tell us in the comments how we can shape our content to bring you your legal news in more engaging ways. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for notifications. Thank you.